That'll work, won't it? Unmuting myself. Surely. Thank you, Samantha. Thanks for letting me know that I was that I was muted. Welcome. I hope everybody's okay. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday afternoon. Can you hear me now? Is everybody okay? Make sure that you can hear me. Send me a message saying that you can hear me. Am I still muted? Okay, yeah, I'm better. Okay, good. Whew. Thank you, Sibley. Nice to see you. Welcome. Hi, Ashley, Lori, Terry, Michaela, Lucia, Magali, Elena, Deb. Nice to see you guys out here. This is my very first time using this platform. I'm using StreamYard. So I'm so nervous. I'm always nervous about something, but gosh, I'm nervous. Now, remember, I hope that everyone knows that if you can't get in, you gotta go on the Facebook Live. I could only hold on StreamYard 10 people. So I can't hold any more than 10 people. So I hope that everyone sees that they have to go on the Facebook Live on the Afro-Latina page to see it. Okay, so hopefully you don't get mad at me for not being able to get on StreamYard. But anyway, it's my first time. Please be gentle. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and look at my, share this here. Okay, let me know if you can see. I guess you can see it. Let's see if it goes. Oh, yeah. Okay, you can see it now. It looks a little blurry, but it's okay. I'm gonna be able to say everything that's on the screen, so no worries. All right, so hola, my name is Jennifer White. I'm so thrilled to have you in this webinar. I just want you to take a deep breath. The stuff that we talk about is uncomfortable, and it's sad that it's uncomfortable, but I'm so glad you're here. I am very grateful that you are one of those that care. Hey, greetings from Chicago. Hey, Chicago. So I'm trying not to read all the comments. It's very distracting, but anyway, you keep saying comments, it's fine. So I want you to take a deep breath and just breathe in. Everything's gonna be okay. The picture you see on the screen right now is my family. I always have to have my family in every webinar. They just have to be there. I feel like they're there with me. So you can say hi to my family, my mom, my dad, my kids, everybody's there. So anyway, thank you for coming. Okay, so in this session, you're gonna learn about personal biases. We're gonna dig deep into the vault of your heart. So hopefully I don't start crying in this webinar, because every webinar I do, I get so passionate. I start like, oh, I feel like crying, but it's because the stuff we're talking about is painful. And if you don't have a passion for it, if you don't have a passion for your kids, then it's something that you wouldn't be here to listen to what I'm saying. But the next thing I'm going to talk about is systematic racism. And are you a victim of it? Am I a victim of this? And this is something that we're going to talk about. We're going to start meaningful dialogues, and we're going to start adding to your unit. So you're probably thinking, I just came here to get the unit stuff. But before you do that, you know, everybody's talking about this anti-racist teacher thing, and it's the most popular thing right now. But to be an anti-racist teacher, you have to start by dealing with your personal biases, dealing with systematic racism, and just coming out and being honest with yourself. Because if you're not honest with yourself, there's no way you can be an anti-racist teacher, because you won't know if you're racist or not. So first things first, we're going to start with an activity. So if you have a paper and a pencil, I would love for you to join me to do this. This activity will be in a handout. I have a handout for you with all the stuff I'm talking about. All the links, everything is going to be on there. So don't worry, you're going to have this. So if you want to do this with your students, if you want to do this with whatever group that you're part of, it can be relevant. So we're going to get a piece of paper and pen. If everyone has one, I hope you do. And we're going to get started. If you don't have a paper and pencil, just think to yourself these things, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 columns. On one side, you're going to write the word that I'm telling you, because you probably can't see it on that screen. It's so small. And then the other column, you're going to write either white woman, white man, black woman, black man, Asian woman or man, Hispanic woman or man. Okay? And if it doesn't fit in that category, put whatever you want. Just put whatever you think will fit in this category. Okay? So you guys ready? Let me hear you. Facebook, are you guys still there? Can you guys still hear me? Everybody on StreamYard, you guys okay out there? Okay, good. Thank you for nodding your head, Terry. I appreciate that. Okay, so first things first, valedictorian. What do you think? What kind of person is a valedictorian in your head? Or most of the time? Most of the time, who's a valedictorian? Okay, next one. Who's a great cook in your head? Who's a great cook? You could put mama in there. It's okay. All right, next one. Who's an active shooter? If you're thinking of an active shooter, would it be a white woman, white man, black woman, black man, Asian woman, Asian man, Hispanic woman, Hispanic man? Just pick one of those. Who is a rapist? Who is a rapist? When you're thinking of rape, who comes to mind? Okay, Joelle, you said that you can't hear anything. Can anybody else hear me? Joelle says she can't hear me. Uh-oh. I'm hoping, Terry, can you hear me? Okay, Terry is my person that I look at. Terry, you're in charge. All right, so next person, thief. When you think of a thief, what race of person do you think of? A thief. Great. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay, next one, shoplifter. Shoplifter. Who do you think of? And I know these are uncomfortable to answer, but you don't have to share those with me. You don't have to share those with anybody. This is all about you, yourself, and the vault of your heart. I know I'm very dramatic, but this is what it is. We got to open that vault. Next one, DoorDash worker. Who's a DoorDash worker? The one that delivers groceries. What kind of person is that? Next one. Ooh, this one. Every time I see one of these, I start crying. I'm such a sucker. The teacher of the year. Every time I go to ACTFL and there's a teacher of the year, I cry. I don't know why. I feel like that's my cousin. I feel like, oh, she's so awesome. She's just wonderful. I mean, every teacher of the year is like Miss America to me. I haven't seen a male teacher of the year. Oops, I shouldn't have helped you with that one. Ouch. But who's a teacher of the year? For the whole nation, for your state, for your area? Okay, next one. Who is the principal of a top school? What would you consider a principal of a top school? Next one, sergeant in the U.S. Army. Sergeant in the U.S. Army. I had to add in the veterans out there. My he's a veteran. Next one, a genius. Who would be considered a genius? Next one, we're almost done. A manager. Who would be considered a manager? And then who would be considered a worker? And I want you to just look at your answers. And are you surprised about any answers? Because when we're dealing with personal biases, you don't notice you have them until this moment right here. This is the moment when you notice. Like for me, I'm sharing this with you, and I'm sharing with you my heart as if you're all my friends, because we're all in this together. We're all learning together. But if I were to think of an active shooter, I always think of a young person. Yeah, I don't think of an older person, even though there has been older people. But the first thing that came to my mind was a young person. Okay, a DoorDash worker. The first thing I thought about was a friend of ours that she has a son, which I'm going to talk about him later. But he's black and he's tall. He's a football player. He's a DoorDash worker. but I've seen a lot of young ladies that delivered food as well. So just think about that. Think about what you wrote. And this is how we're going to get started. I hope you're okay. And here I have a great picture of Jarrell Jerome. He's an Afro-Latino. In case you want to grab his picture for further resources, he is the main character of a mini series on Netflix that's called When They See Us. And this has to do with the 5 Black men that were accused wrongfully in New York for attacking a white woman. And they were in jail for years and years. And his character spent the most amount of time in jail. So I had to put him in there because he is Afro-Latino and he says he's Afro-Latino. That's not common. Some people don't want to say they're Afro-Latino. It's pretty sad. But look at his quote. It says, do whatever it takes to tell a story, to make a change, and to get people to wake up. And that's what we need to do as teachers or as parents. I know I see a parent out there, one of my parents from my school. That's so awesome, Dion. She's on there. That's so cool that she's listening. But this is what we need to do. We need to make a change. Do whatever it takes to tell this story. So I'm going to go on. If anybody wants to say anything, I wish I could hear you guys talking. I like dialogues, but that's okay. Okay, so first of all, you ask yourself these questions. Where is this bias coming from? Whatever you wrote on that paper and you think that's pretty wrong. Maybe I shouldn't think like that. Why do I think like that? Why do I think that the active shooter is always young? I mean, I remember seeing on TV an active shooter being older, but the first thing that came to my mind was a young white male. Why did I think that? Do I think everybody's like that? No, I don't. Thank God, I don't think everybody's like that. And you have to question yourself. Why am I making such a big deal about this? Sometimes you have a bias about something and you're adamant about it. You're like, oh no, this person is like this and there's nothing anyone could do to change my mind about that. Why do you feel that? Why do you feel it is so important? And I'm going to give you an example about that. And this is funny and I'm not trying to offend anybody. Please understand my heart. But my dad, thank God he's not out there. Papi, I hope you're not listening. But my dad, every time he was driving, we were in Miami, every time someone cut him off or he saw a bad driver, he'll say, oh, that lady driver. And it's like, sometimes it's a man, but in my brain, it like stood that any bad driver is a woman driver. And I'm a woman and I don't drive bad, but it's like, it's stuck in my head like forever now that it's like, oh my gosh, why did that lady do that? Why did she cut me off? And I'm always saying she, and it's like, that's not right. Okay, that was a man or that was a young boy. But in my head, it's like, that's there. And I've had to stop that because I don't want my kids to hear me and then it's stuck on them. But anyway, is this important? Does it help me feel? Does it help me be a better person? Does it help someone else? So if you're thinking of like valedictorian, you're expecting maybe an Asian male to be the valedictorian, which we had one in our school. We had an Asian male actually this year. But if you expect that, then that means that every graduation you're looking for the Asian to be the main person, the genius, the valedictorian. But why is that important? Does it help anybody? It probably doesn't help anybody. And the next thing is, which this is tough, okay? This is not easy at all, but invite a person to coffee. You have a bias about a certain group of people, or try your best to surround yourself with that type of people. So if I feel like maybe even me as a Hispanic, if I feel that, I don't feel like this, but if I feel that African Americans are scary or they're mean or they're rude or they just say everything, or I could even say like New Yorkans. New Yorkans just are blunt. They say things. If I'm afraid of New Yorkans, I think they're all like that. Maybe I need to hang around some New Yorkans because I need to make sure that not everybody's like this, and this would change your mind about things. Okay, and then number 3, make sure you have a friend out there that's very honest with you. I know we're adults and we know these things. But sometimes as adults, we don't really want to hear the truth about certain things. So we go to someone that's going to rescue us. We go complain to somebody and they're like, yeah, girl, yeah, for real, I don't like her either. And it's like, no, you're both wrong. You need someone that's going to stand up to you and tell you you're wrong. That's not right. You need to have a friend that will hold you accountable. If you're going to face these biases, you need someone that's going to help you out in this and help you get out. And I have pictures over here of other Afro-Latinos with their names on them. And I will share that with you as well. I have Lauren Velez, an actress. She's Puerto Rican. Dasha Polanco, Gina Torres. So just be honest with yourself. This is the most thing. Be true to yourself. All right, so we're going into a difficult subject here of systematic racism. And systematic racism is something that you don't notice is being done to you. It's like a brainwash. And I remember in the last webinar I did, we Googled on Google, we Googled on Google rapist, or we Googled bad people, crime, and Black people came out. If you Google children playing, it's white children. If you see students, you see mostly white students. It's like if the whole world is showing us what is beauty and how we should think, which that's not the case. So here I have several examples. I know you probably can't see it. It's so small on my screen. It looks like so tiny. But there was a time when the presidential election in 1988, when President Bush used a Willie Horton's ad. He used it to play racism and fear to the people. So this man, he raped a woman, and what the president did, what Bush did was say, hey, I'm gonna protect your daughters. I'm gonna protect them from these rapists. And it's like, okay, he's showing that picture of Willie Horton, and it was all over the place. And that's what people saw, and people were afraid. And other people said, no, he's not going to win the election because of that. That didn't scare us. But then he ended up winning the election because he brought fear to everyone. I know a lot of people on this page watching right now, you're probably remember this, that he was running against Michael Dukakis. So systematic racism, I had to tell you this, my husband's quote. He says, systematic racism is like sweat. You have no control of the odor. You just have to use something to mask it. So it's like you can't help. This is what it is. The police brutality that has happened, the things that have happened against Black people, and the things that they want us to believe and think. This is something that we personally cannot do anything about. All we can do is make it better on our own turf, like with your own classroom, with my own kids. I'm responsible for my students. I have a certain amount of students. I will be the best teacher I can to help them think differently. And what it's saying here is after 30 years that this ad was aired, it is still an example of the play on racism and fear that it did. So this ad didn't change the course of history. The question is if it inspired it. If it inspired history. And it did. It did inspire. And I have a lot of little notes on there. You probably can't see it or not, but I wanted to tell you about the DoorDash guy, that he's our student in the orchestra. My husband's a musician, a concert pianist, and he's also the director of the Aniston Youth Orchestra. So we had a student named Rufus. And Rufus, he moved away, so he's not near us anymore. But he was a DoorDash employee. And Rufus is really tall, okay? Really tall, very dark skin, okay? He could even have a beard, and he's only 18 years old. He looks like a grown man. Very intimidating guy. But if you meet him and talk to him, he's the sweetest teddy bear ever. He's like, you want to just hug him and be like, you're a good boy. You're so good. You're so awesome. But this is what happened to Rufus. And I have this link also on the handout. It's a post that his mother posted with a video. And it's saying on there how Rufus was driving to deliver a DoorDash a delivery. And he went into a neighborhood that was dark. There are certain neighborhoods in this area of Alabama, which some places in Alabama, it's still against the law for Black people to congregate in front. I'll tell you about that later. It's crazy. They enforce it. Sometimes they don't enforce it. But anyway, I don't want to talk bad about Alabama because I live here and love the folks here. But I'll tell you about that later. But anyway, so he was in an area he wasn't supposed to because it was dark. But he went to deliver these goods. Well, he had to go to the nearest Winn-Dixie where there's light. So he went to the nearest Winn-Dixie. And when he went there, he had guns aimed at his head, at his face. There's an 18-year-old football player, the most popular kid in his school. And they were handcuffing him and everything, about to take him to jail. But then one officer, I guess, came later and noticed it and said, hey, that's Rufus. He's a football player. And then they left him alone. But that wasn't right. That wasn't right. And even all of you would agree with me that that was systematic racism. They assumed that this man, which it wasn't a man, was a Black kid, and they pulled the guns at him. I got mad. I sent that story and the video to all the news stations, but nobody published it. But this happened June 17th. So this is like right after what happened with George Floyd. Another thing I wanted to tell you guys is I have a friend that she's a Afro-Latina from Panama. She's married to a light-skinned Panamanian. And you would think, you would look at them and say, oh, he's not racist because he married a Black lady. Yeah, he's not racist. But then when we went to Panama as missionaries, my husband's from Panama. He's an Afro-Panamanian, and he's darker skinned. So he's the leader of this mission. But we took a white lady with us, Miss Donna, and Miss Donna might be listening. It don't matter. Hey, Miss Donna. But we took Miss Donna with us, and this young husband gave Miss Donna so much honor and glory and said, hey, you're like my mother. And he introduced her like, this is like my second mother, but he just met her. So you're like, what kind of stuff is this? I was perplexed. I'm like, wait a minute, he just met Donna. Like, he's known us longer because we've known his wife for so long. Why is he treating her like that? And even his father didn't even look at us, didn't look at my husband, just looked at Miss Donna. And we were wondering, like, what is this? Why is this happening? But this is a systematic racism. They don't even know they are racist. He is married to a Black lady, a Black Panamanian, and still he would prefer a white woman. Now, that's something that I couldn't tell him that. I couldn't tell this friend of mine that. He would have to realize that for himself. But this is what we're dealing with. This is what the systematic racism is. And it's very sad. Very sad that we have to deal with this. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk about your students. Your students, if your students are the minority, if they're Black and they're the minority in your school, so it's like my school, the Black kids are minorities, then I have to be different with them. I can't treat them the same way I treat all my other students. It's just, sometimes you're like, I gotta treat them all fairly. Yeah, you treat them fairly, but when it comes to the cultural part, you have to just be a little different. For instance, like some white people, and I'm not trying to offend, remember, it's from what I've observed. Some white people, they try to act like Black people. They walk like this, yo, what's up, man, what's up? And it's like the Black kids are looking at you like, what is wrong with this person? Why are they you just have to be yourself. Just be yourself. Being genuine is the best tool to use because kids can see right through you. And you can always show them love, okay? Always show them love the best way you can, but be yourself. Now, when you're in a school where the majority of the kids are Black, then you have to go in a different approach. All those kids that you consider kids that are good kids, that they work hard and that there's a little flame of hope in there because they're awesome kids, reach out to their parents. Even if you're not Black or Hispanic, if you happen to be white you're the minority in your school, reach out to those parents, especially the mom, because the mom is the authority figure in their lives most of the time. I'm not trying to generalize, but most of the time, the mom is the authority figure, and she would love you back if you come to her with positive reinforcement about her child. So just remember that. Be yourself. Also, I've been teaching a class online called Exploring Afro-Latino Culture. And the age group for this class is 8 through 12 years old. And I showed the kids this picture of Sammy Sosa. If you can see that picture right there, it's Sammy Sosa when he was black, when he was yellow, and then he eventually turned white. Now, I'm not making fun of Sammy Sosa. That guy to me was the world. You know, when I was growing up, he rescued Dominican Republic from those hurricanes, donated money, but he came from a very poor and rough beginning. And look at him now. He's a different color. He started bleaching his skin and he put contacts on. And I asked my students, I said, hey, what do you think about this guy? And they're like, those are different people. And I said, look closer. And they're looking at Sammy Sosa. They're like, we don't see any similarity at all with these people. You don't even think they're cousins? Or no. Eventually I told them, this is the same guy. And the kids freaked out. They were like, what? Why did he do that? I said, what do you think he did that? We don't know. Like, they didn't know. I told them, well, he doesn't like being black. He doesn't. He prefers white. He thinks white is more acceptable. He thinks that white is more beautiful. But what do you think is going to happen to his kids? What do you think about his kids? You think his kids will come out that color? And then the kids started talking, and I love hearing children's dialogue. I mean, I could live on the dialogues because they are so wise. These are 8-year-olds. One little girl told me, what about his mom? Doesn't his mom look black? And I'm like, yeah. Well, doesn't his mom have her feelings hurt because he changed color? He can't go back. I said, no, he can't go back to that. Another child said, isn't that bad for him? Can he get cancer? I'm like, man, smart children. I said, but what do you think? Why do you think he did that? Oh, he doesn't like himself. For you not to like yourself means that you really go to drastic measures to change your appearance. And even though maybe our students don't have the money to bleach their skin or anything, there's the hair issue. You know, I confess, I used to put relaxer in my hair and make it straight because as a Dominican, that was the thing to do. Every time people saw me, I had to look professional. I had to look like I'm a person that needs to be taken seriously. So therefore, I need to straighten the hair and keep it straight. And that's what makes it beautiful. So this is a way that you can relate to your younger students. If any of you teach elementary school, I always relate to those younger kids. I could always tell them stories about, like I told them the other day about Mexico and the slaves during the slave trade, they came to Mexico to Veracruz, and the divers had to dive down and get coral to build this beautiful architecture. And the kids were like, well, what if they died? I was like, yeah, they did die. A lot of them died. Well, how about their moms and dads? Were there kids in there? I was like, yeah, they were kid slaves. And I tell you folks, these kind of conversations strike the heart. My kids were, you know, they were teary-eyed. They said, what? They were kids there? Like me? I said, yes. And what I tell my kids is that slaves were pretty awesome people. And I just taught a class like an hour ago, and that's exactly what I told them. Slaves were pretty awesome people. They did not have shoes. They did not have clothes. They did not have cars, internet, any of that. Mom or dad, cousin, whatever they had that was good was taken from them. But you know what they had? They had their brain. They were smart. They had to pull the information from their head, and that made them smarter. So I talked to them about the hair, how the braiding of the hair, they were maps to freedom, and they could send a little girl somewhere and they could see the map of her head, and the kids were fascinated. My kids don't see the slaves as, oh, low down, dirty people. Those bad people, they can't, because I've portrayed to them some awesome, smart people that were taken from their homes, ripped of everything that was important to them, and they still managed to use their brain, had faith, and hung in there because they had faith that they would come out of that someday. So hopefully this is something that you can relate to your kids. And later on, I'll talk to you about a show that I'm going to be starting about exploring Latino Afro-Latino culture that I will be streaming on Facebook Live every week. So you can watch it and get information from there. It's going to be free, and you can learn more about the Afro-Latino culture. But here we go. So here we go with the units and the links. Hopefully this works, okay? Bear with me. I'm going to click on here, and hopefully it's going to go to where I need it to go. But before I click on there, I have 2 units. It's 1 unit for you, but this unit, 1 does not have Afro-Latino links. The other one does. So I just wanted you to see the difference, that you can get a unit that's already yours, that you've done from last year, and you could just apply the Afro-Latino culture to it. So I'm going to show you the link of the one that does not have Afro-Latino culture in it. And as we go through the actual unit, you'll see how I can insert it in there. Okay. Now, the Afro-Latino culture doesn't have to be the focus of every unit. Remember, you're just trying to incorporate it so that it's not just on Black History Month, you know? So let me see if I could click here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm looking at my other page to see if it works. Oh, I don't know if I could see it. Okay, let me see if I can get it to share, or maybe I need to stop share and then start over. All right, give me a second, okay? I can do this. I can do StreamYard. Yes, I can. Yes, you're right. Enslaved as opposed to slave. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. I've been saying that for so long that I get stuck on saying that. So I appreciate you saying that. It's not is enslaved. Yes, thank you. Okay, let me share this with you. Okay, we should see it. Okay, oh my goodness. I don't know. Terry, are you able to see that unit? Can you see it? Can you see the words in detail? You need super glasses. I can't see it. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to explain it, but you are getting 2 copies of this, okay? So I'm gonna do the best I can. I wanted you to really see this, but I thought that StreamYard will be the best platform to show it, but I guess showing such little words is not gonna work. Okay, this particular unit is Spanish 1, and it's our classroom and new friends. That's what it's about. Usually I use this theme for the beginning of the school year, like the first one I do, because it is about classroom and things. And I apologize if some of you use CI and other different ways. I hope that my resource could still be used because I'm new at CI and I'm just now learning everything, and I'm really excited to use it, and TPRS and everything. So if you put it full screen, you get a better view. Okay, let me see, full screen. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to, oh, I think I know how to do that. Okay, thank you for your suggestions, Alexis. I appreciate your advice. Let me see. Okay, you may not see me now. Okay, Terry, can you see that? A little better. You need your glasses don't have to be that. Terry's like, oh my gosh, lady, what the heck? Okay, so, okay. Let's see, let's go back. Okay, we can see a little. Sorry, I'm picking on Terry because she's the only one I could really see. Okay, so I'm not trying to pick on her like a student or something. Okay, so there you go. The first thing I like to do in everything, I put a picture. I just can't stand black and white paper with nothing on it. I don't know if I have ADD or what. I just have to look at people. I have to look at a picture. So here I have a picture of Shakira and the Waka Waka. So if I were to put a picture like this to my unit, even though no one's gonna see this, just for me to see it, then I would add the Waka Waka video link. And what does Waka Waka mean? Like the kids in my classroom, they like this song, and it talks about Africa, and it's such a beautiful song. It's like just celebrating Africa. But they're like, what is Waka Waka? So Waka Waka means let's do it. Hey, let's do it. So sometimes at the volleyball games for my daughter, I'm like, Waka Waka girls, Waka Waka. And they're like, oh my gosh, there she goes again, your mother. It's okay. I don't care what they think about me. I say waka waka all the way. So it's cool to know these little, even African words that the kids might sing, or when I teach them the dance, the waka waka dance, they might be like, we don't know what waka waka means. So it's good to know. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going up here. Okay, and here are the essential questions. How can I introduce myself or someone else in Spanish? What information do I want them to do I want to know about someone else when I first meet them? Now, in this part with the essential questions, I suggest a video of maybe someone introducing themselves. I've seen that on the Afro-Latino teachers page. I've seen that the teachers have said, hey, can you guys record a video saying this so that I could use it for a lesson? Do that, because I still have not yet found on YouTube an introduction video with Black people in it, which I'm trying to change that. So I will have that as a resource, hopefully by the next webinar. But for right now, it's like if you go there and you say, how do I introduce myself in Spanish? You're not going to find anybody of color. I haven't found them yet. If you do, let me know, please, because I want that link. But like, for instance, like I look for quinceañeras. It's hard to find them. So I found one quinceañera that was of color, and I wrote to her myself because I was so excited. But always look for people of color in certain videos. But you're going to tell me this. You're going to be like, Jennifer, there's none. And that's what I'm trying to do, because since I have so many Afro-Latino friends and Afro-Latino family, we can provide that. But for right now, if you have any kids in your school or in your classroom that are Black or Afro-Latinos, record a video of them introducing themselves and use that for the future, for yourself, for a resource, because they need to see more than just one culture teaching Spanish. It has to just be, and I'm always talking about Afro-Latino culture, and I'm passionate about it, but I make it a point to even show my kids the students, the Chinese Dominicans and the Chinese Panamanian and their culture, like just not just one culture. It's such a variety of cultures that speak Spanish. Okay, so interpretive is I can identify the general topic and some basic information in both very familiar and everyday context by recognize, practice, memorize words, phrases, simple. Okay, so in all of this vocabulary, if you're doing vocabulary flashcards, if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, it's very easy to Google everything and everything's gonna come out with white kids. So make sure that you find kids from different backgrounds, different colors, and just put them on your PowerPoints, as far as so that your PowerPoint will be more inclusive. It would be more varied and diverse. Anything that they see on paper. And on the other one that I have, the other lesson plan or unit, I incorporate AC Quintero. She's an author. She writes short stories, and she does have one about an Afro-Latina. I told her to share it with me, and I didn't give her enough time to share it. So, but she's out there. Check out her teachers page, and it's on here too. I have all of that on there. Okay. All right. I can when you're thinking about interpersonal, I can communicate in spontaneous, spoken, written, or signed conversation. You're thinking, how do I incorporate Afro-Latino to that? Find somebody. Find someone that you know that is willing to Skype with your class, or that can ask questions to your class. That is, every time you have a guest speaker to come, and I know these are weird times right now, everything's in the internet, but even better, you can get someone that's far away to come and speak to your class, or to your web class, your remote learning, because they could come out and just be on the screen with you, and they can say, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Dónde está tu madre? ¿De dónde eres? If they start speaking Spanish and they're from another country, an Afro-Latino, then the kids will get used to seeing somebody else that's not just the same culture. Okay, so that's good. It goes with the interpersonal, presentational. With my kids, as far as presentational, I encourage them, because they'll do the same thing every time that they present in front of the class, and I look at their pictures. Unless it's an Afro-Latino project, you don't see any Black people on the screen. You really don't. So I would encourage them. I said, hey, make sure that you represent the culture well. Not everybody in Latin America looks like that. Not everyone. They look different colors. Put some indigenous population in there. So I tell them also when they're presenting in the instructions, I put make sure that your pictures are diverse, so that way they're forced to go look for those pictures. Because if not, they'll just Google kids swimming and they'll just put kids swimming instead of saying, okay. But then I also tell them, hey, I don't want everybody to be colorful. I mean, everybody to just be one color. Everybody Indian or everybody white or everybody black. Put them different colors and vary. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so cultural, when it comes to the classroom and meeting new friends, this is when you could ask them questions about, hey, so what are your friends like? And do you have friends from different races? And some kids don't know that. They don't notice that all their friends are all black or all their friends are all white. They don't notice until you ask them. And this is the personal bias part, where you're not teaching the bias about biases, but you're asking them, what kind of friends do you have? What kind of friends do you have in this classroom? Look around, and what kind of friends? And if it was my classroom, it would be mostly all white students, or maybe one black child in the room, not in every classroom. But I would ask them, I would say, look around the room. Let them be conscious of what they are. So you see that when you're revamping your curriculum, your unit, is not that hard. It's not like, oh my gosh, I gotta reinvent the wheel. You don't have to at all. You just have to be able to be more conscious. If you're more conscious about these things, then they will be more conscious. So the AP themes, personal and public identities, families and communities, I would always include different types of families. With the Latino culture, a lot of I've noticed that when they're talking about like Hispanic families, they put like the light brown family, and they're all light brown. It's so cute. They're all light brown with straight hair, and it's a beautiful family and everything. But how about those families that have a dark dad and a light skinned mom, and they're also Hispanic, and the kids are not the same? You know, I was born an Asian. My dad said, "Tú eres una chinita," because I look like an Asian. I had straight hair. I was really yellow. My mom was really dark. My dad is dark. So they always thought that my mom was a nanny. And they said, "Oh, where'd you get the Chinese child? Where'd you adopt her? I want one too." And my mom was like, "That's my child." And it's like, she was always offended. But anyway, thank God I grew up to look like her. Because I like looking like an Asian. That was nice. But then I would have thought, they switched me at birth or something. But always with families and communities, show the different communities and the different families. I always celebrate the culture, always show the wonderful part of the culture, but I have to show the negative parts of the culture as well. So don't hesitate in putting something that it's like the hood, or a community that maybe in LA and it's just a poor neighborhood. I don't know, wherever you live, poor community. And that's another thing. I relate my students to the community that we have here. Like here in Alabama, they're here, but they don't see. And I'm sure you have kids like that. They live, but they don't see anything. And so if you tell them, hey, have you guys ever been to the West Side? No, we never been there. And some kids, where I've had the power to, I've taken them there. Like I used to teach at a Muslim school. I just love taking those kids on field trips. I mean, I took them to West Anniston, where it's a predominantly black neighborhood, and we played on that playground and everything. And I remember telling them, hey guys, so where are we? I don't know. We never been here before. They're looking around. This is a great neighborhood. All right, let's take a walk over here. We start walking. Now I know that neighborhood well, so I can get away with nothing happening to me over there, but take a walk with my little Muslim, beautiful children. And they're like, whoa, are we safe, Senora White? I'm like, oh, you're safe with me. Believe me, deep down inside, I'm a thug at heart. I will, but really it's not that. It's because I love people so much that I'm friendly with everybody. So I'll be like, hey, how are you? I'm just taking my students. I'm just bringing my students, just want them to show the neighborhood and make it positive. Not everybody can get away with this, believe me, but I love people. I'm a people person. I love every kind of people and all ages, all races. So I show that in my personality. So I can go anywhere and they'll receive me and my students. It's just an awesome gift. I thank God for it. But so I took my kids there, and they were like, Sierra White, this is a bad neighborhood. I'm like, no, people make it bad. I teach Zumba here every week. Every week I'm here. Nobody has ever done anything. Yeah, you see some drunks, people that chose a bad life, and you just stay away from them. That's it. I mean, you can still come play. Now we go to that park, and someone that see Muslim kids playing in that park. Gee, I wonder what went in their heads to make them think that that park is safe enough to go play. I know all of you cannot do this, what I'm doing, so just use your wisdom, of course. But I've done that. I've taken my Muslim kids also to the university, let them ride the bus. And they were like, oh, this university, there's a lot of white people here. I'm like, no, there's other people here. Look, and we find the International House. I take them to the International House, show them the beauty. I just love showing kids the beauty of everything. Everything, just everything, because then they appreciate it. And then I like showing them how they're similar more than what they're different. Because people are always picking at how different you are, or how different we are, or how different they are. And I'm like, no, they're just like you. Look, there's Muslim in that International House. Let's go meet them. And they actually got to meet a Muslim student in that college. Okay, let me see what else I have in here. The songs that are here. I also I'm sharing with you my playlist on YouTube that I compiled with my Afro-Latino music. So I'm still building it, so you can have it forever. It's yours. I'm just building on it as I study more about this. I went ahead and put it. So if you can go to the YouTube Afro-Latina teacher page, I'm building playlists of Afro-Dominicanos, Afro-Peruanos. I'm just now building, but if you follow it, you'll be able to have access to all of those playlists. Because sometimes I'm looking for, I just want to know about the art Afro-Argentinos, and it's too much. But if you can go somewhere where it's a playlist where it's all there, and I'm still building it, so don't go there and be like, she don't have all of them here. It's because I'm still building it. I'm working on it, but it's gonna be there, okay? So real world purpose, how do students communicate in the real world? Just those exercises. If you can't take your kids on a field trip, like I can't, and definitely not with COVID. They told us this week, they said, you can't go on a field trip. We're like, oh no, we can't. But like I said, pull resources from other teachers. The world language teachers are so welcoming, and they support each other. And I've just found you ask and they'll just help you. I've had so many teacher friends that I've never met in person, and I've always wanted to. When I go to those conferences, I'm looking for them, and it's like 9,000 people there, and we can never find each other. But it's like we're good friends on social media. So let me see what else I have. Student center, the vocabulary. Talk to you about the vocabulary. Also, right now, as I decorate my classroom, because we start already on Monday. Remember to include some diversity in your decorations, even if you can print out a picture of Jerome Jarrell and put it on there. Just put something that is relatable. Especially if you have Black students, you want something that if they go into a Spanish classroom, they'll be like, oh, you have Black folks on here. I have pictures of baseball players, and my kids love baseball and they love sports. So I try to find the Dominican baseball players or the Caribbean ones and put them up there. And when they say, oh, I know him, and it's amazing how my kids who love baseball know all those Dominican players' names. And then they feel like they have a connection with me because they know their name. I don't know their names. I really don't. I only know Sammy Sosa because he was my favorite. And then when he turned that other color, I don't know, it just broke my heart. I'm still hurt. But anyway, those players are there, and baseball players that are high school baseball players would know all the names of all these guys and will tell, hey, he's from Dominican Republic, he's like this. I said, what city in Dominican Republic? I try to go deeper. I ask them questions. What city in the Dominican Republic is he from? Tell me more, because I don't know. And that's how I can get these dialogues of, hey, I know a little bit about Dominican Republic. They feel kind of proud about that. Okay, so this year at my school, we have to have assigned seating because of COVID. So we were taught this past week on Friday, they told us, well, make sure that you know where the kid is seating, because if he's sick, we can come back and figure out who got infected. And I was thinking, ooh, this is a great opportunity to use my Afro-Latino pictures and and give them a set. You have 2 sets of pictures of the same. Like if I have Jarrell Jerome, 2 copies of Jarrell Jerome, I give it to the child as they walk in, but there's a picture on the chairs you want them to sit on. So I just pass it out. If they want to exchange, they can. Sometimes they fight over the person. No, I don't want that guy. I want the girl. Okay, fine. Well, when they sit down, I say, okay, you have to match your picture with the picture on the desk. And that's where you're sitting for the rest of the year or until we have to, quarantine again. But that's something that came to my head when they said seating chart. I'm like, ooh, wait, I could make it Afro-Latino related and it's not a unit. So just think about that, doing that. And I have more stuff in here that I will share with you. So I'm going to stop right now because I've been talking enough. Oof, talk too much. And I'm going to see if there's anybody that has any questions. Let me see if you have any questions. I'm going to go from the top. Is everybody okay? I guess you guys hear me now. Hello from New York. Nice to see you, Kim. Hey, Rachel. I'm looking for any questions here. Okay, put it school full screen. Thank you for that advice. Yes. Alexis, you will get everything in the email. If you registered for the course, for this webinar, you get everything I have. Everything I shared with you today, you're going to get everything. You're going to get, but remember, there's a unit that doesn't incorporate Afro-Latino, and there's one that incorporates it. I just want you to see the difference. Okay, I put in italics so that you can see what I put. So I hope that helps you. And I am doing another webinar in 2 weeks, and it's going to be about travel and leisure. So this unit you will get is going to be about travel and leisure. So eventually I will do all the units. I'm going to end up doing 9 units. Okay, let me see with the social. Okay, let me see if I could do this. Look, I did it. Yay, I didn't think I could do that. Okay, so Graciela said with the social difficulties now, that will be challenging. I agree we can look at strengths respectfully and acknowledge differences without being judgmental. Yes, it is very difficult. It's always difficult. And some school system may want to ignore the whole thing that this ever happened. Some people might just disregard it, but we just can't. Not in our classrooms, we can. It's just not right. And I forgot to tell you about how, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought because I was reading the comments. Your colleagues, when it comes to personal biases, I've heard so many stories about how, teachers, colleagues don't treat each other right in the workplace, and some teachers are ignored, and they would be successful and they do great things and everyone ignored it. I've talked to so many teachers like this. At least 6 of them have told me the same thing, that they do great things and it seems like their school doesn't acknowledge them, doesn't recognize them. But what you should do is those teachers is, give them their kudos, say, hey, you're doing a great job, because that teacher could be a great resource for you, even if it's a math teacher or you never know. Always open yourself up to be friendly, because even the kids can see that. The kids can see any strife between teachers. I don't know how they see that, but they do. Okay. Oh no, somebody just told me, Samantha, somebody just told me about Somos. I've heard of Somos, and someone told me they were using it, and I just asked them, how do you like Somos? And they gave me like a 5-page report of how much they loved it. So I'm gonna look into that. Thanks for sharing. Hey Terry, you're still there. Hi Terry. That's my cousin now. She's been there for me since the beginning of this program. So have you guys. It's just kind of nice to see a friendly face there. You're welcome. I love doing what I'm doing here. There's some people saying thank you. I appreciate that. You're so sweet. Okay, let me put this. Chris Cashman. Ooh, that's a nice name, Chris Cashman. I like the idea of embedding the diversity of the Hispanic world throughout the curriculum. I've seen Afro-Latinos Famosos type of units out there. Do you support that sort of thing, or is that an othering sort of practice? Well, that's a good question. The Afro-Latino Famosos, what I do with them is that I try to, I use them only so that my kids can relate, because kids love famous people. And like, for instance, my maiden name is Saldaña, So there's an actress named Zoe Saldana. And my dad said, yeah, you're related to her. You're like the third cousin. So I tell all my classes that, oh, Zoe's my cousin. You know, she's Saldana like me. And they're like, oh my gosh, Miss White, she's famous. And I'm like, I'm not famous, but yeah, my cousin. Yeah, she's, it's like, but kids love that. Kids love famous people, but I don't focus on famous people unless they're doing something cool, like Jerome doing that character that he did. I don't focus too much on them. I like focusing on real people. And that's why in every webinar that I do, I always put pictures of my family. They're Afro-Latinos, they have struggles, and I'm writing stories about them. And if you know anybody out there, it's like, talk about them, because the famous people, they're wonderful, but sometimes you can't relate to them because they're rich already. But people who are still struggling now, or are going through stuff, or they're pretty cool people, they're smart, and they're great leaders in their community. Those are the people I want to highlight, because I want to show them that they're cool too. Like, I like to talk a lot about my daughter, Ariel. She's a teenager, so I talk about her to my students. And you're probably thinking, what? Yeah, but she was the same age as they are, you know, so that's somebody that I could use as a resource. Or my daughter, Lizzie, she's going into the 9th grade now, and she's actually taking my class. So I've never had my daughter in my own class. That's going to be crazy. But in the past classes, I've talked so much about Lizzie, because Lizzie and her hair, she has an afro, and she's one of probably 2 Black girls in my school. So when she wears the afro, I'm like proud as a mom that she can wear that afro with pride, because I wouldn't have done that as a kid. No, I didn't even know I was Black until like 6 years ago. So I have to deal with those things. And then I have to, like my husband, I really work hard at teaching our kids that they're beautiful. And we tell them that they're beautiful and their hair is different. We all have different types of hair, but we need to show other students that, because students can be very fickle with feeling depressed about how they look and everything. But if I can show them through Lizzie that, look, she has a little afro, and she does whatever she wants with it, but she loves it. And you'll be surprised that can help with their self-esteem. So thank you, Chris, for asking. I hope I answered that all right. Let's see. Thank you for diversity in the Latino is such a, yes. There is so much diversity in Latino. And when you go to Panama, it's like the Chinese Panamanians are everywhere. We can't leave that out in our Spanish classroom, because what if those kids end up going to one of those countries and they see Chinese people and they freak out? Oh my gosh, there's Chinese people here. No, they're Panamanians. They're just, their ancestors were Chinese, and yeah, they consider themselves Chinese, but there are such thing as Chinese Panamanian people out there. So, and when I go home to the Dominican Republic, I see a lot of Middle Eastern people, and they're there studying to be a doctor. So that's pretty interesting to also tell the kids that college is free in a lot of Latin American countries. So if any of you have any questions or anything, Terry's doing good. She's doing good. Michaela, hey Michaela, how are you? I should work this way. Nice to see you. Thanks for being there, Michaela. Magali's there. Hola, Elena. Hi, Elena. Hi, Deb. Deb, are you still there? You have your mask on, Deb. Are you next to someone you're not supposed to be next to? That's cool. I'm glad you're wearing your mask. That's cool. Lori, thanks for being out here. Everyone who's with me on StreamYard. I put you there by mistake. You know, I don't know how to use this thing. So I send you guys the link, but only 10 people can fit on StreamYard. So next time I do this, we're supposed to actually see it. Oh my gosh, yes. Sorry, I have to say this. Sandra Ellen Bach just mentioned this lady I love. Have you heard of Miss Rizzo? She's Dominicana. Yes, and I use her. There's a podcast out there. You could just Google it. I have to remember to put it in the resource. But you put Miss Rizzo's, put podcast. She's like in one podcast, and it's about the hair. And she's the one that I learned that in the Dominican Republic, if you get a ¿cómo se llama? You get like a stipend. You get money every month so that you could fix your hair, because you cannot go to work like this. This is unprofessional. So you got to get your hair straightened. So she started this movement called the Big Chop, and they just cut off all their hair and let it grow back natural, and don't worry anymore about putting any more chemicals in the hair. So that's like a movement that's going on now with the Dominican Republic. She has beauty salons everywhere in New York, in Dominican Republic, and some other places. So we hope to go visit. Sí. Radio Ambulante. Gracias, Sandra. Yes, it's on Radio Ambulante. If you want to look that up, write it down. It's an awesome podcast. I use that as a listening comprehension with my kids. It's very long. So what I broke it down into different days. And then for their, I think it was like a final exam or a midterm, I put an excerpt of that. I put it in a reading comprehension, and I even put it in a listening comprehension. They had to listen to it, and they had to understand what they were saying, but they had already heard it before. So that's pretty good. Please use Miss Rizos. She's a great resource. Also, as teachers, become friends and join email lists of stuff like this, even if it has nothing to do with education, because they write such awesome things and they talk about culture. So it's good to know about culture, not just from teachers, but from other people that are out there, just being themselves. So anyway, is there any other questions? I'm so excited for all of you being here. Soy marrón. I never heard of that, Sandra. Is that a podcast or something? I'm not sure if soy marrón. I haven't heard it, but I will look it up. I never heard of that one before. But thanks again. I hope you guys learned something today. I'm going to share with you. Let me see if I can go back. Stop sharing. Go back to my link. Yeah. Okay, so, oh no, I did it wrong. Let's go back. Please, I'm sorry. I'm just so new at this thing. And my hair was tamed and then got nervous and then it went crazy on me. Okay, maybe now? No, it's not showing up. Okay, let's try this one more time. Come on. Oh, I forgot to put share screen. That's important. I should know that by now. Okay, there we go. So on this, you're gonna see all my information. Afro-Latina teacher on YouTube. On Teachers Pay Teachers, I do have a free resource there for Afro-Mexicanos. Then coming soon in September, you guys have to see it. It's gonna be a live Facebook show about exploring Afro-Latino culture. I will have guests on that show. And I think you're gonna like it because I'm gonna talk about food, and sometimes I'm gonna be cooking, and we're gonna talk about hair, and it's gonna be a great resource for your kids. It is gonna be in English, but it's something that if you can use it, because I want to be able to reach some of the parents that want their kids to know more about Afro-Latinos. I want them to learn too about it. So, okay, so I'm getting so many different feedback here. A Peruvian in Maine, Radio Ambulante. Is that the Soy Marrón? Yeah, okay. That is so cool. And then Duolingo also has excellent, but yeah, you're right. Duolingo, it does. It does. We have so many great resources out there. You can use it on Edpuzzle and ask the question right there. Awesome. Graciela, gracias. That is awesome. There are so many resources out there. But remember, good resources also is live people, just real people. Okay, that's the best kind of resources, is having real people on a video talking. And Afro-Feminine, I've heard of Afro-Femininas. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard of an article about that. But that's pretty much it. I don't know how much I've been talking. It's already 3 o'clock for me. For you, it must be 4 o'clock, or I don't know where is your time zone. But I appreciate you coming. Will we get to see the other unit that incorporates Afro? Yeah, you get the same unit, but you get it twice. Okay, so you get the same unit I went over. You're gonna see that the tab says without Afro-Latino and then with Afro, because I wanted you to see the difference so that you don't feel like you're gonna be stressed out about, oh my gosh, I gotta incorporate this stuff. No, it's pretty a quick fix. YouTube videos, get some resources, reading some stories. You do have to do some research, but it's not a lot, especially if you're not focusing. The unit is not about Afro-Latinos. So it's not, I'm just trying to teach you that it's not gonna be hard to incorporate it year round. Okay, it's not gonna be that bad. So, yep, that's what she said, Samantha. Yay. So any other questions? If not, let me see, I have a private chat over here. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I forgot that I had a private chat here on where Elena and Deb and Lori are. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I don't know how to look. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how to save the chat yet, but I gave you all my information. You're on my Afro-Latina page. You could send me a inbox message too. Okay, let me see what Deb said. Deb, I wonder if I could put I can't put your post on there, but Deb says, my white colleagues and I are having difficulty balancing presenting Afro-Caribbean history without it all being slave focused and demoralizing for our African-American students. Do you have any suggestions? For example, I would like to teach Yanga, but it's another slave story. Oh, you're right. It is a lot of slave story. But like I said, Deb, I don't I don't show the slave story as it is negative. It is, but I celebrate the slaves of how they got through and how they did that. The actual Caribbean history is like that's something we can't really get away from. But what I try to do is just celebrate all the good stuff that came from it. You know, the music and the food and the dance, especially food. The kids love recipes and stuff. I teach them mango with the mashed plantains and stuff. Celebrate the good stuff, even if you have to teach Yanga, because Yanga is awesome. I teach Yanga right now online, and I'm focusing more on, okay, yeah, this struggle happened, but struggles are necessary for sometimes for good things to happen. Like some people are saying, like, without problems, how would you be the person you are today? If you had no problems at all and you would just be a spoiled brat and be like sitting there on your butt doing nothing all day long. But because you've struggled, you appreciate life, you appreciate breathing, walking, driving. And that's what I try to get at my kids. Look at the slave struggle, but look where they are now. Look, we've had a Black president now. Look how awesome that is. Look how far they've come. Look how they use braids on their hair. They're just so smart. And that's what I do, Deb. I just celebrate it. Celebrate. And even though you have to say the bad things, it's part of it. It's just something you can't get away from. And kids need to know that they have to struggle too. I don't want to take away the struggle away, because kids like to take away their own struggle. Oh, my mom is always yelling and my mom this. Well, maybe you're going to be a different kid because of that. You know, what kind of kid would you be if your mom wasn't this strict or didn't lead you on the right path and stuff? So I hope that answered your question. Thank you, Magali, for your email. If you could send it to me on the other page. Yes, definitely. I do have a link for my next webinar. Where is it? I'm sorry, it's my first time, so that's all I can say. Sorry. But I do have the link to the next webinar. I'm gonna post it on the Afro-Latina page so that you guys can register, and then you can do it. I have a coach right now that's teaching me how to do all of this, okay? And I told her, how much should I charge for my for my Unbleach webinars and stuff? And she's like, you need to charge $99. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the teachers, I can't pay that. So I don't know how I'm gonna charge a teacher that. Teachers are so lovely, and I don't know how I'm gonna charge that. Okay, charge $60. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Oh my goodness, I can't do it. Well, don't charge $20. Don't do that. So actually, I'm charging $20, okay? Because she said not to do that, but she's not on this webcast. She is on this page. She might see me. I'm embarrassed. Sorry, but I will have a special price for you, $20 for the next webinar, which the next webinar is gonna be about scenarios you could use in the classroom, like role playing, about biases, racism, colorism. Let me see what else is on it. I can't see the whole thing. For some reason, I can't see it. Anyway, I will have all of that on that page because it's cut off on my page, all the stuff that I'm including on that webinar. And it's going to be on September 22nd at the same time here. Not September, August. So it's in 2 weeks. All right. So thank you so much, Michaela, for coming. It was nice to have you. Deb, thank you, Deb. Deb, does that mean okay? Nods? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you said that helps. Good. I'm so glad that helped. I'm so glad it did. Thank you so much for putting your comments on here. And we have some people. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Cecilia. Is Yanga a good book to read for lower level Spanish learner? Oh, it depends what level they're on. I'm introducing Yanga to Spanish 3. And online, since I teach online, I asked the parent, have they taken Spanish 2? They've taken Spanish 2, let's do Yanga. And Yanga is really good because it repeats the words, really good CI book, really good book. So I don't know. I'm sorry, I really don't know because I use it for level 3. It depends how advanced is that lower level Spanish learner, but I would not do Spanish 1. For Spanish 1, I use Fiesta Fatal, which doesn't have Afro-Latinos in it, but I incorporate it in it. So whatever book I have that doesn't have Afro-Latinos, I figure out how to incorporate it because I just have to incorporate it because that's what I do everywhere. But I hope that helped. Just use it for a higher, especially if it's since it has a slavery, it has some violence and stuff in it. It's very at the edge of your seat kind of thing. It made me cry, of course. Everything makes me cry. But yeah, Yanga is really a really good book for maybe the older kids. Okay, check Cuba. It's a lot beautiful portrait and equality on black and white. Yes, that's true. Yeah, Cuba is awesome. Great history. Yes. All right, Lupe. I'm glad it helped. All right, so any other comments? Anything else that you need? If not, then I'm going to be heading out. But it's so nice to see you again. I wanted to thank you for being here. I have a lot of friends that are teachers that would not take my webinar. They won't dare take it. So I'm really impressed with you, that you're here, that you're learning, that you don't mind that I talk about these things, these uncomfortable situations. Thank you so much. You're such an awesome teacher and I encourage you to keep doing the right thing, keep loving your kids, keep loving those students, keep being passionate for them, and keep finding the ways to bring up these uncomfortable situations, because later on, they're going to remember your name. They're going to remember who you are. You're the one that brought out potential in them. You're the one that sacrificed so much for them. And we're pretty special people. So thank you so much for being here and for listening. And I'm going to put everything on the Afro-Latina teacher page so that you could come to the next one. And then I'm going to send you everything on the email. Okay, so make sure that you are registered, because if you're not going to get that email. So thanks again. Thank you everybody here on StreamYard. Elena, Lori, Terry, my new cousin. Go, Terry. Terry, what color is your hair? Let me put her on the screen. Hold on. Terry, look at you. She's so beautiful. Is that red hair you have? You have red hair? No, it's not. Oh, how come I can't hear you? I don't even know how to unmute you. There you go. Terry, I can't unmute you. I don't know how to do this. This is bad, Terry.
I muted myself.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So what color is your hair?
It's brown.
Really, from here, from Alabama's point of view, is red.
Yeah, it looks red in my screen too. But
that's awesome. Anyway, guys, that's Terry. She's my new cousin. So you guys know who she is. Say hi to her. She's my new cousin because she helped me. Give me moral support up here. Thank you so much, Terry. Gracias, Ali. Thank you for being here.
Gracias.
See, I can do that. I have that power. Look, I can put people on here. Isn't it awesome? I'm just practicing. So next time I could do it. Look, that's Ali right there. It's so nice to meet you guys. Thanks again for being here. And besos. High five. I'll see you guys soon, okay? Adios.